So I am with the lovely Charlotte from Recover to Perform, and we are discussing how to identify and fix diastasis recti, which is also known as ab separation. It's a popular question that I've been asked from all the lovely, beautiful mum warriors. So welcome, Charlotte. If you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, your qualifications, and whatever else.
Cool, thanks for having me. So in terms of me, I was a dancer for many years. However, due to injury, had to stop, ended my career. So I've now come back into learning about the body. It was always quite a big interest of mine. I did want to be a physio, but dancing kind of took over. Never a good idea. But yeah, so I'm kind of going the long way around to kind of getting to know the body and how it works and injuries. So now a sports massage therapist. I've done my level 3 and level 4 sports massage. So level 3 is kind of the general massage techniques, and then level 4 we start to look at kind of injuries and how we can treat them, manage them. So yeah, it's been good, and it's nice to have little projects like this. So this is something that I've been researching over the last few weeks now since you asked me to do it. So it's been nice. It's been good to look at it and see other people's journeys from Instagram and stuff. So yeah.
I thought it'd be the perfect fit for you because your company's called Recover to Perform, and
Yeah.
the first things mums are itching to do once they've had their baby to get back into working out, but they need to recover first before they can start performing, especially if they have this. So for those that don't know, what would you say, what is diastasis recti and what does it mean exactly?
So diastasis recti is, so I go, that's the technical term. Then you go down to abdominal separation, and then people kind of know it as, that don't really understand it, is six-pack separation. It's kind of a good way of putting it and what it looks like. So what it is it's the separation. So you've obviously got, if you look at a six-pack, you've got like the little packs that look like little pouches, and that's your rectus abdominis, which is the technical name, and it's the separation down the middle of your abdominal muscles. But I mean, it can happen in multiple different ways. So there's a few different ways that it can happen. So there's open diastasis, which is where it's open from the top of the abdominals right down through to the bottom. Then there's also where it opens below your belly button. So that's where you see the doming. And there's also above the navel, your belly button. And then there's completely open diastasis where it's all, you can just see everything, is kind of everything's doming. And the reason it happens in pregnancy is to allow the room for your little baby to grow, and it's their little home. So, and it does happen, and it's mainly caused through pregnancy. Due to bump size, it obviously dependent on where it happens and how it happens. It's just totally dependent on your little home. And it doesn't always happen through pregnancy either. It does happen if you've been doing years of kind of loads of abdominal loading and lifting that comes with poor technique. If you've not been taught for when you first started out, it can happen through that as well. So it can remain up to 1 year after birth, and some women may always have a little bit of slight separation after birth as well. So, but there are ways to fix it, which is good, and it's nothing to be ashamed about ever.
So what would you say is, one of the things that I found is when talking to mums, and especially on this topic, some knew what it was and a lot actually didn't, even if you've had multiple children. So what would you say was some of the symptoms? Because mums may have the symptoms and not actually know that this is the reason for it. What would you say they are, or what are they?
So the one that most people will always notice first is like a bump or a ridge. It's kind of described as down the middle of your stomach. So it's more noticeable if you're starting to do sit-ups or crunches, because it actually then starts to dome in the middle as you contract your abdominal muscles. And I mean, the other symptoms are it can give you lower back pain because of the separation, it's actually weakened your abdominal muscles as well, which are a stabilizer for the lower back. So if they're not working properly, it can cause extra kind of, how to describe it, extra kind of curvature in the lower back, which can put pressure on the spine and the muscles around it. Pelvic floor problems because everything's kind of come out of place. Constipation's one as well, and also hernias. I mean, they're very rare, but they have more chance to kind of get out, which is the abdominal tissue or another organ that's actually got through the abdominal wall. But because there's separation there, it can actually make it easier for hernias to occur. But that's only if you don't kind of stick to the exercises, which we can talk about later, and just kind of going straight back into what you're normally used to and overworking yourself. So they're the kind of main symptoms, but the one that people will notice first is the bump down the middle of the stomach in different places.
And when you say bump and doming, I'm going to interpret that and say that people would say to me that don't know they've got it, I've got a mummy tummy. And what they'll say is, I'm following everything correctly with my nutrition, I'm doing all my workouts, but I'm just not losing my mummy tummy. And it can be actually that's because they've got ab separation. That is the reason. And that doming is what they're referring to with mummy tummy, right?
It is. Yeah, the little bit that kind of when they're lying down and nothing's working, there's like a dome there. And if they do try and go up into that sit-up position or pulling themselves up off the floor, then they get the little ridge down the middle or that doming again. So yeah, that is what it is, the mummy tummy.
And because so many people, I think that this should be something that's covered at your 6-week check, because when you have children, you'll see when you go for your 6 weeks check, it's literally like you turn up and they go, "Are you okay?" basically, and you're like, "Yeah." And we don't know if you're not okay because no one's explained to you that this is how you can feel, these are the symptoms you can have. No one ever mentioned to me about ab separation or anything. It's just because of my the length of time that I've been in the fitness industry that I know that could have occurred to me. So I actually immediately after my 6-week check, I went and saw a therapist who did check it for me. But if I wanted to check at home, because people can check at home for themselves, I would always recommend that they go and see a therapist like yourself, or whoever they're local to them, to check professionally. But if you wanted to just have a quick check and think, you know what, I do have a mum tum, it's not going down, I wonder if I have ab separation, don't know about it, how would they check?
So the best way to do it is, I will do it as well in a moment. It's so easy. All you do is lie on your back with your legs bent and feet on the floor. Don't go into the one thing I will say is, don't go into a full sit-up. You want to lift your head and your shoulders slightly off the floor, and then all you have to do is run your fingers down the middle of your stomach. And for a moderate case of diastasis recti, is if you can fit 1 or 2 fingers into the little gap in between your abs, and that will provide you with the diagnosis, as if we say. So if I can pop this somewhere around here. I don't know if you can see the floor. Yeah. There's not the biggest gap between the tables and the... So all we want to do is legs bent in a comfortable position, lift your head and your shoulders slightly off the floor, and then if you have got it, you will see a little ridge here, or the doming, and then all you have to do is stick 1 finger in, and at the moment mine's quite hard. If that's not there and you can fit your fingers in between, that will prove to you that you've got slight ab separation. So it's so easy to check if you have got it, and for a bit of kind of comfort, I guess, in seeing. So yeah, all you need to check for is if that middle bit of your abdominals is hard, and if there is a gap, you will be able to feel it.
Yeah, that's great. So now people can check that at home, and then what I'd advise them to do is, once they've done that, to go and see a therapist. Because when I tell people what exercises to avoid, I'm saying it because I don't know who you are, I've never met you, but these are genuinely the exercises. However, a therapist like yourself can tell them how much separation they have and what they can and can't do exactly to them, can't they?
Yes, definitely. It's all dependent on the person, and it's the same with everything. Even if they've got like a lower back injury, a hamstring injury, it needs to be tailored to the individual person. It's all down to them really, and everyone's different. And it's the same. It's the exact same with this. People have the separation in different parts of the tummy, and it needs to be tailored to them. And the best way to do that is to go and talk to someone about it. And we're all here to help, so we'll always do what we can.
Yeah. So from a general point of view, so what I would do is I'm going to be releasing a Heal Your Core and Restore Your Pelvic Floor type program in the next month or so. But because it's going to be an online program, I won't know someone's ability or someone's individual case. So what I will do is I'll create the program for the worst case scenario. So if you have the largest gap, so it's super safe for everybody to do.
Yeah, definitely.
When they see a therapist, they may be able to push themselves more so. So anyone that wants to follow that program, I would still recommend you go and see someone like yourself, a therapist in the area, wherever they're based, get checked, and they'll know that if they do the version in the plan, that's safe for them to do, but they could be pushing themselves a bit more once they've seen a therapist. Yeah. What exercises would you say, if you've not seen anyone just yet, to avoid?
So main things to avoid is don't continue with any strenuous exercises that you were used to doing before. If you notice that you're getting a bit of slight ab separation, or if you've felt and done the check, just because even though you sometimes don't feel like you're using your abs, they're such a massive part of the body and they stabilize a lot of different joints, and even though you don't feel like you're using them, the likelihood is that you are, and you don't want to then cause any extra risk of hernias and things like that. Another thing to avoid is holding your baby on one hip. And so many people do it, and I've had so many people come to see me and go, oh, I've got really bad lower back pain on the left side, like I've got a young child. And I'm like, well, what hip do you always hold them on? And they're always like, oh, I hold them on the right. And I'm like, well, that causes so much imbalance. I know it's hard, and I know you have one dominant side and you go straight away to pick them up on that side, but try as hard as you can to carry them evenly on each side, just because it will avoid any of the injuries, any posture imbalances, which can cause so many other things. So someone like me, we can carry out postural assessments and give you corrective exercises, which again can help with ab separation, because it's the whole thing of the stabilizing muscles and getting that posture right. Because if it's not right, you're going to put weakness into your lower back again, and those abs just aren't going to strengthen back up. This is going to sound very strange, but you really want to avoid straining on the toilet. If you're having constipation issues, don't try and strain. Try your hardest. I know you just want to get it out and get it sorted, but it doesn't help, and it's not going to help your abdominal muscles to come back together, because that straining and that pushing is like what you've done when you were giving birth, and that's the whole reason your abs have separated in the first place. So go and get some constipation tablets, go and help yourself, otherwise it's not gonna get better. But now that one's out of the way, we want to avoid your crunches and your sit-ups, because they are working your superficial abdominal layers, which is it's putting too much strain on those muscles, and we really want to be working the lower, deeper abdominal muscles to create that strength back and get those abs back together. And also with that, when you're getting out of bed, try not to pull yourself up, and then you do it day to day. You kind of do a sit-up every morning to get yourself out of bed. But a really good way to avoid doing that and to allow those muscles to settle is swing your legs round, push your arms up to sit yourself up and get out of bed that way. And it just allows those those deeper muscles to get working, and the smaller muscles, because the smaller muscles are the most important. You don't know you've got them, but they're used day to day. So that's what we
need out of bed rather than sitting up.
Yeah, rather than sitting up and pulling yourself up, you want to, roll out of bed. And the best way is to swing your legs off of the bed and use your arms to kind of push yourself up. And then you're using those little rotational muscles in your torso, and it just all helps. And it's hard, it's habit. You pull yourself up out of bed because you're like, I don't want to get up out of bed, because I know I'm exactly the same. But that is a really good way to do it. But yeah, we just want to avoid any strenuous exercise, doing the crunches and sit-ups, and straining on the toilet.
And ironically, that's the thing that women tend to go for the most after birth, is they suddenly want to flatten their stomach, they go straight to ab exercises. And I'm always the first person to say, you need to work out, to lose any fat from your belly anyway, it's diet first. You don't need to do any ab exercises, full stop, regardless of whether you have it or not. And thirdly, if you do have it, abs are actually going to make it worse and more prominent, and that mummy tummy that people are striving to lose will be more obvious.
Definitely.
So we want to definitely make sure we avoid that. But there are lots of safe exercises that you can do to help close that gap. Now, obviously, the best place is to go to come and see yourself in person. But for someone that's just listening to this, they can start off by, what would you suggest starting off, which would be safe for all levels?
So a really, really good one to do is just, it's the easiest thing. It's lying down on your back, knees up, feet flat on the floor, and just practice your breathing. Really deep tummy breaths, not any, you don't want to be breathing through your chest, really relying on those deep muscles in your stomach to breathe. And then all you do to activate those small, deep abdominal muscles is if you're pulling your stomach to your chest, to your spine, try and pull it in as far as you can, but using those muscles while still breathing. When you first do it, it will feel quite strange, because you're not used to, when you breathe in and you breathe your tummy to your spine. But to use those muscles, you need to be breathing whilst doing it. All you then do is you just want to hold those muscles in place until they start to shake, and you can feel that they're working. Then release it. Take a few more really deep tummy breaths, and then do it again. Do it about 3 times, and over time it will build up. The first time you do it, it will feel very, very strange, because it's something you don't do. But you just want to be able to feel those deep tummy muscles. You'll always probably feel them in your pelvic floor area first, and then just really try your hardest to work your way up to the upper abdominals, because that's where you're going to really try and feel it. But all it is using those breathing muscles to really tighten up the deep abdominal muscles. And you can normally feel it as well, even if you prod your tummy. It feels weird because everything feels soft. Everything should feel soft, because you can't feel those deep abdominal muscles. But you just don't want to be able to feel like your stomach muscles are tightening. That's the last thing you want. So it's a really good way to check that you're doing it right, is that everything's soft. And even if you keep tapping your stomach, it will kind of tell your brain that it's like, I don't want to be using these muscles, it's the ones underneath that I want to be using. Once you've got it, you'll feel it, and you'll feel that it's right. But that's just one of the safest ways for anyone on any level to get used to using those smaller, deeper muscles.
I think we could probably do a separate video on this at some point and go through just this, because I think that would it's a hard exercise to show on a video, because you can't really see the breath like that. But
but what I am doing, I am going to do, I can take some photos of the positions that people need to be in, and kind of do a stage of increasing these exercises, and we can send it out to subscribers, if that's okay with you, and just kind of short description next to it, and then each one we can kind of work it up, because there's other exercises that are a bit more advanced where you're on all fours, which are even harder to get those activating. But it's just something to work towards, and really safe way of doing so. So if you're happy for that to go out, then I can get one of those sorted.
That would be amazing. Thank you so much.
No worries.
So that people can find you, now it's time to drop all your social media links. And how can people get in touch with you? Where do you work from? Do they email, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you've got? Hit us.
Cool. So Facebook, you'll just find me as Recover to Perform. My Instagram is exactly the same, I think. No, it's not. It's _ Recover to Perform _. It's so annoying when they don't allow you the same username.
Yeah.
Twitter, I'm not on Twitter yet, but in terms of where I work at 2 clinics at the moment. One is called Function Jigsaw, which is in Wigston, and the other is Bodyworks Physiotherapy and Pilates on Welford Road, which is really good for Pilates classes and working those deep muscles as well.
Right.
But other than that, I do the occasional home visits as well, so I'm all over the place.
Oh, excellent. So I'm going to drop all those links and how people can get in touch with you, so that if anyone had any more questions, they can get you directly or book an appointment to see you if they're local, or maybe, I don't know if you want to introduce it into business, but do like Skype or videos like this, so that you could actually assess a lot more people that way. So if they did want to do that, do you think that's what you could do?
Yeah, no, that would be a really good way of seeing people and getting to know people as well, and you can prescribe exercises over Skype as well, so it's a really good way. Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. Well, I hope people do get in touch with you, because you really know your stuff, and I can tell you're passionate about it and enjoy helping people to recover. And who doesn't want to see a nice friendly face for help?
Exactly.
If you're listening to the podcast, you're like, I don't know what she looks like, well, look out for the video, because you'll see that soon.
Perfect.
But thank you so much for your time.
No worries.
No, well, thanks for coming on. We will get together and work on that PDF for exercises for people. Showing people how to control their breath to get to the deeper levels of muscle, and I'm sure we'll do a lot more together, and we can take it from there.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Charlotte.
No worries. Good luck, everyone.